Happy Thanksgiving to you from the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. We taped this program just before Thanksgiving. We're recapping the November 20th meeting, and we'll look ahead to some things that are coming up in December meetings. Let's touch on the meeting. It was about 40 minutes in length, so a little bit shorter for the average Maple Grove Council meeting. Consent agenda, just one item that was touched on, and this is really a recap from the last meeting. Council member that was not there, I understand, had some comments to say. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this was the item with regard to the Arbor Lakes Business Park, and this was their concept stage plan. So this is the property that's just east of the fountains, south of Elm Creek Boulevard there. So this was looking at bringing back the resolution that put together all the feedback and the direction from the council that occurred on that November 6th meeting. Councilmember Barnett was absent for that meeting, and so she wanted to convey that she had watched both the Planning Commission and the City Council discussions of this item and was supportive of the direction the council was headed in approving this. So that action on that was for 5-0 approval of their concept stage plan. A couple more steps to go in this one. They'll have to come back around on their development stage plan for that first building, which will be on the east end of the project. And then there's, of course, the tax increment financing district considerations. So that hearing on that tax increment financing district is postponed now till after the first of the year when they come back around with their development stage plan.
Very good. So just thought we'd give you an update, and again, more to come as we head into 2018. To the special business on the agenda from the 20th, we have some new officers and a new sergeant in town. Give us a little police update.
Yeah, so this was, we had a full audience of police from the police department, which is always nice to have them show up for these events of swearing these folks in. So we had Sergeant Matthew Brost. I'm just trying to get to my page in the agenda here to give you some more information. So Sergeant Brost has been with the department since 2005, and so he has served in both the patrol and services divisions as a patrol officer, safe streets unit officer, school resource officer, investigator, and then has been a member of our emergency response unit. So quite a diverse background and very highly qualified for this sergeant promotion. So we're happy that he came through that process, and congratulations to him and his family. It's always nice too. The families are invited to come as part of this event, and so we get some pictures with them and their spouses and children and family and whatnot. So it's a nice event.
Very good. And then we had a couple officers,
new
officers.
New officers. They have made it through their field training part of coming on board here to the department new. Both of them have served in police patrol officer positions in previous other jurisdictions prior to coming to Maple Grove. So they're not brand new to the law enforcement world. But Officer Justin Reeder was an officer with the New Hope Police Department for about 4 years, and then prior to that he was a 911 dispatcher with Hennepin County. So he has some background coming to this new role here in Maple Grove as a patrol officer as well. And then we had Officer Justin Smith, so the two Justins, as we've called them internally.
They'll be known forever now.
Right, exactly, as the two Justins that came on board at the same time. So Officer Smith was a police officer with the community of Raleigh, North Carolina, for about 2 years, in 15 through 17, so just left down there. But he's originally from Maple Grove, so this is kind of him and his family coming back home. So he was looking for an opportunity to get back here to the Minneapolis area in the Northwest Metro. So this was a good fit for him, so we're really happy that he's joined the department as well. Congratulations
to all three. And it was interesting listening to some of their background, very impressive, but also the training they go through. That's something that people maybe aren't as aware of, but the colleges and the programs that are out there that have officer training, and I can imagine that's even stepped up to a higher level now. And that's something that I would guess you as city staff and certainly the police department look at when they come in is what type of training have they had? And what's their, their college background. I think having officers with 4-year degrees really brings a well-prepared, well-rounded officer to the table. They've got kind of a broader skill set and more preparation coming into the role. Really, I think, raises the professionalism level of service that we provide in the department. So, yeah, these folks come with pretty solid backgrounds joining the department. Very good. Moving ahead on the meeting, we move to community development items, and one we've talked about a few times is the Rush Creek Apartments. Tell us again where this area is we're looking at and what step of the process is this.
Yeah, so this is the southwest corner of 101 and Bass Lake Road. There's a little triangle piece of land there, kind of right up against the Corcoran border.
Right.
So this will be an apartment project located there, about 236 units, and it's called the Southwest Crossroad Second Edition. So I think it'll be that Southwest Crossroad area. People may recall the proposed Hy-Vee stores is kind of across the street to the east. I'll talk a little bit about Hy-Vee as we get through this. But this was the development stage plan for this apartment project. So this one gained support from the Planning Commission and then support last evening from the City Council. So we'll probably see this one moving forward in the spring. But another kind of high amenity, type of apartment project. So happy to have this one coming along on the west side of the city.
And really, if you think of that corner of the city, not too much like it out there.
Right.
So this is a new type of opportunity for that
It
section
is.
of town.
Yeah, a lot of single-family housing
Yeah.
out in that neighborhood. Some of the more, senior-focused, 55-plus crowd
Right.
villa-type development, but we don't really have a lot of higher density, particularly in the apartment market. So this is a new market, a new type of housing for that area.
We'll keep you up to date as it moves ahead. And you mentioned Hy-Vee, so let's
Yeah.
get the Hy-Vee update here because that's
Yeah.
important to that area of the
It
city
is.
as well. And what have you heard?
Yeah, so we, many people might have seen the article that was in the Star Tribune a few weeks ago where Hy-Vee was talking about some of their stores in the South Metro that are being completed and opened in the coming weeks, and the article commented that they were kind of going to tap the brakes here on additional stores, and so we had followed up with Hy-Vee about that issue because of course we have the 2 stores that are approved kind of sitting waiting, and even within the last few months the message from Hy-Vee had been, we're in the 2018 construction schedule and they'll be moving forward.
Right.
The feedback we've gotten post the Star Tribune article was that they are indeed going to tap the brakes here and kind of recheck the market. And so both of our stores are kind of in that hold position for a while. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear.
Right.
We continue to, let them know that we're interested. I think particularly from a community support perspective, the store at 101 and Bass Lake Road was really important to that side of town. There just isn't a lot of services and certainly not grocery on that side of town, so that's an important piece. They understand that. They own the real estate in both of the
They do. Okay,
situations.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that in and of itself can be motivational because you're
Right.
paying a lot to sit and hold that real estate. So we committed to staying in touch with them and see what they're looking at. I think some of the considerations are just the changes in the grocery trend and a little bit of the labor squeeze is
Right.
them looking at, are there ways that they can cut some of the labor out of their stores, and so what, are they bringing in product in a different way instead of having that product either created or packaged or whatnot within the confines of the store. So they're looking at those kinds of things. So we have a good relationship with their real estate folks, and we'll stay in touch with them and continue to express our support over there. But at this point, we're kind of on hold. We're hoping that they'll sort through some of this over the winter months, and maybe we can see something happen in the spring of 18. But we'll keep you posted on that one.
Is the Twin Cities area their main area of growth right now, or are they building in other places and
Yeah.
doing the same thing, tapping the brakes elsewhere?
Yeah, I think Minneapolis is a bit of the focus of their expansion market right now. They are looking at they call it a fresh market concept. It's a smaller footprint store and typically combined with a C-store option.
Okay.
We asked the specific question, would you shift to that on these sites? And no, they would maybe look at reducing maybe the square footage, which gets back to how they're bringing product into the store and
Right.
that attempt to try to reduce the labor in the store. So I think they're looking at that fresh market concept, certainly in other areas and other sites, but
Right.
they wouldn't, at this point, they didn't say they would be looking to shift to that type of a store on our sites here in Maple Grove. So we'll stay in touch with them and continue to express our support. But for now, they hold the real estate and we're kind of on hold for a bit.
All right, we will let you know when we know more about that as well. Further on in the meeting on the 20th, we had a report from Ken Ashfield about some transportation news. We've been talking about this so that it's something that there were some dates that were to be met, and now we know there's maybe another set of dates, or at least more talking about 610 and maybe some of the county roads around that area.
Yeah.
Tell us where we are in funding and what the outlook looks like.
Well,
if you know.
Well, yeah, tough to know.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of needs and a limited amount of funding, and so the competition is always pretty great for these types of funding programs. So we would be pursuing the Corridors of Commerce program for the trunk highway components of 610. So that's really that westbound to eastbound connection from 610 to 94. The connection out to County Road 30 is more of a local road improvement, so we'd be pursuing some funding through that. You know, we're prepared to apply to these programs. The city's been successful in the past in getting funding. Much of the 610 corridor was funded through the Corridors of Commerce program, so we see this completion as kind of the next step in that process. So we'll be applying to those programs here over the next few months and hopefully gain some support so we can get some of these projects underway.
Now, Ken mentioned the Met Council in his discussion at the meeting. What role does the Met Council play in this? Are they holding some of the funding, or are they that conduit to get you further down the road to that funding?
Yeah, they are. They have some funding programs. So there's a program called the STP program, Surface Transportation Program. They have a funding mechanism that we would be pursuing. They also are projects that come through MnDOT need to get amended into kind of the capital improvement program for the state, and the Met Council has a role in approving that. It's called the STIP. They have a role in approving that. So it's all kind of intertwined, and we need to make sure that the Met Council understands what we're working on. We work with Katie Rodriguez, our Met Council representative, and making sure, you know, she's kind of understands the direction we're heading and what we're trying to pursue, what our priorities are. And then as well as at MnDOT. So yeah, there's a distinct relationship there on the transportation front.
Very good.
Yep.
A few other items from the meeting. You had a chance to talk a little bit about passports. We've heard a lot of talk about that there might be need and more interest in passports, and I understand maybe the city of Maple Grove has been approached about that need. Give us a little background and what was decided at the meeting.
Yeah, so in the last couple of months, the city has been approached by the Minnesota office of the Department of State. So the Minnesota office oversees South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota in terms of those Department of State type operations here in this area. They are looking to establish a passport acceptance facility up in the Northwest Metro, and so they reached out to the city to see if that would be something that we would have an interest in. Back in 2013, Hennepin County stepped away from doing the passport, being a passport acceptance facility. I think part of the challenge is if you are a motor vehicle operation that issues driver's licenses as well as being the county issuing birth certificates. There was a requirement for some physical separation of those types of operations from the passports, so i.e. the people who do issue driver's licenses and birth certificates can't be the same people who are issuing passports. So kind of related to national security issues. So it was not only the physical separation duty, but separation duty from a staff perspective. And in some of those situations, it would have been a pretty high bar to kind of separate out those facilities. So Hennepin County made the business decision to step away from that work because of those requirements. So we took a look at this. We have a space on kind of our second floor of our government center that's a reception space that we could utilize for this. Kind of ran the numbers to see we get a certain fee off that passport process, and then we also have the opportunity to do the passport photos. So there's kind of two different revenue streams here. And based on what the volume the State Department thinks would probably be done at a new location here in Maple Grove, we certainly feel that we can cover our costs of the operation and potentially have an additional revenue stream to the city to offset that. So Council was supportive of us moving forward to work with the Department of State to establish a passport acceptance facility. We'll start working on that. We've already sent one of our staff members to a training just to get more familiar with what the process is and understand the requirements before we kind of committed to this. So we have one of our staff that's already certified through the Department of State to do that work. So we're going to be working on that, and likely end of first quarter 2018, beginning of second quarter. It's going to take us a few months here to get the space ready and staff trained up and whatnot. So, but I think it'll be a great resource to our residents here, not only in Maple Grove, but in the Northwest Metro. The only option right now in Maple Grove is to go to the post office. And so this will be, I think, a really nice service to the area residents that they can get access to these services in their community.
Now, when you say an acceptance center, acceptance facility, what's the scope of work there? Are there things, what do they do mainly, and are there a few things that they don't do that people might go, oh, I thought they did that? Yeah,
so we are accepting the application. So the application is available online. We would have paper copies as well, and this is for new passports. If you have an expired passport, there's a time frame after it expires where you can go through the renewal process, but then once you get past that, you kind of have to start over.
Okay.
So a new passport, an expired passport that's past that time frame, or if you have a minor child that needs a passport. Those are the times where you need to come to a facility. If you're just doing a traditional renewal, that can be done online, and it has to be done online. We can't we wouldn't be able to accept those applications there. We are not the arbiter of whether you get a passport or not. That is done by the staff at the Department of State downtown Minneapolis.
Okay.
So we basically take the application, verify that it's complete, that they've submitted the required documentation to substantiate the application, and then that gets forwarded on to the Minneapolis office where they do all the background work to make the decision as to whether the passport will be issued or not. So we're just the acceptance, and then once it leaves our offices in Maple Grove and it goes to the State Department, then individuals are dealing directly with the State Department if there's any questions or any information missing. So we're really just kind of that processing end of that application process.
And then the back end of everything, of the passport actually coming to you, just comes from the state, and they don't have to go back to Maple Grove to finish the process.
Nope, everything would just come to you through the Department of State, their downtown Minneapolis office.
Other cities have this model? Are there other cities in Metro doing this currently?
Yep, there are quite a few. Robbinsdale, Wayzata, Richfield, Bloomington, those are the Hennepin County cities. On the east side, White Bear Lake, Maplewood, Roseville. And then in Anoka County takes on that role, but they have service centers both in Coon Rapids and Blaine. So there's a number of options around the metro, but up here closest to us, the closest would really be going north up to Anoka County facilities to Robbinsdale or down to Wayzata.
Sure.
So kind of a big population here that's not served.
A little bit of a need. Okay, good.
Yep.
Final item from the meeting on the 20th was a little talk looking ahead at a workshop that'll come up on December 18th. This will be before the council meeting. Is it before a council meeting that day? It is.
Yep, about 6:15 start.
And the talk is about 610 and maybe a new area of development. Give us a little background on this and what you might be talking about.
Yeah, so this is really the area kind of north of 610, west of the Maple Grove Parkway. Maple Grove Parkway, and then out to 94, kind of between 101st and 105th in there. We have some property owners that are interested in moving forward on some development. There's some improvements that are required to service that area from a sewer, water, road improvement perspective. So we've been doing some work to kind of understand what the costs of those improvements would be. And so this is really a discussion with the council to talk about, are we ready to kind of open this area up for development and activate it. We do have the Austin Mutual project that's there along the 101st corridor. So we do have some development that's already occurred up there, but we're seeing interest and some property owners that want to get going. So just talking about how we advance those public improvements and how we pay for them, and so just being able to give some good feedback to the development community about the timeline for that.
And my guess would be obviously no specifics yet of what type of buildings would go there, but from a zoning standpoint, is it similar to Austin Mutual and that type of development, or does it range a little further than that?
Yeah, well, coming through the comp plan process, kind of that area between 101st and 105th would sort of be that mixed use office. You might see some office warehouse type uses in that area. North of 105th, that area will stay primarily residential. We do maybe potentially have some higher density type housing that might is being proposed up in there, so that's an area for discussion.
Okay.
And then as you go up the 94 corridor, there's a parcel of land that sits right on the 94 corridor there. That would be, again, kind of that mixed use office warehouse type use that could go there. So that's the comp plan area.
A lot of future thinking to
Yes.
go on. So either late December, early January, we'll
Yep.
give you a report on that.
Yep.
That's it from the meeting. Then on the 20th, again, a great meeting, about 40 minutes long. Let's move ahead to some other things happening in town. As I mentioned at the beginning, we're taping this before Thanksgiving, and we just want to pass along that if you run to the government center on Thanksgiving or the day after, the door might be locked.
Yeah, closed on Thursday and Friday, November 23rd and 24th for the
Okay.
Thanksgiving holiday.
Thinking ahead, how about for Christmas? Is it just Christmas Day?
Yeah, so let's see. Christmas, I think the 22nd falls on a Friday. We'll be open that day, 23, 24, and then Christmas Day falls on a Monday, so we'd be closed on that Monday, the 25th.
Very good.
Yep.
All right, and with the holidays here, you must be thinking outdoor skating, and I think we can help people out with that.
We
How's
can.
the ice coming?
They are working on it, and they are going to be open this coming Friday, the day after Thanksgiving,
Very
November
good.
24th. So the Warming House Chalet will be open, and should be a festive atmosphere out there.
And that's at the Central Park
Yes.
area, so go to the city's website if you want to find out particulars about renting things and getting involved in that. Park and Recs, by the way, is doing some hiring at that facility,
Yes.
so as more activities come, you need
Yep.
more people.
We do. We are always hiring out there for Central Park. So we have information on our website, but this is skate loop maintenance all the way through that to just the concession stand inside, kind of a customer service type role.
So if you've always wanted to drive a Zamboni,
Yeah.
here's your chance, opportunity for that type of a job.
Yep.
All right, a lot going on with ways to help you in your shopping during the holiday season here. Let's talk about the holiday craft sale, when and where.
Saturday, November 25th, so this Saturday following Thanksgiving from 9 to 3. It's hosted by Katie Beth Craft and Gift Shows, and this one's at the community center. So good opportunity to get some early start on your Christmas shopping.
And an ongoing way to shop in Maple Grove is at the Farmers Market, and again, it has moved indoors. Give us a little preview of the next time we can do that.
Next indoor market, Thursday, December 7th, and that runs from 3 to 6 p.m., and that's inside the community center, kind of in that space, that open area down by the Maple Maze there. Same program applies as in the summertime. We accept the credit and debit EBT cards. We have the frequent shopper program, and then, of course, we have live music going on that day. So we encourage everybody to get out, and they do generally still have some produce items going into the winter months.
Very good.
Yep.
All right, I think we have you covered then for holiday shopping. Now, the next holiday after that would be New Year's. How do
Yes.
you bring in the New Year in Maple Grove? Of course, you go to the community center. Tell us
Right.
about the fun that's coming.
Yeah, so this is our New Year's Eve party. Slight change this year to the timing of the annual event. They're moving from evening to the afternoon. I think it's 2 to 6 p.m. on Sunday, December
Okay.
31st, so a little bit earlier, if I'm reading that correctly. And that's at the Maple Grove Community Center, $10 per person. We do encourage people to buy tickets in advance because this is an event that
Yes.
sells out. It's pretty popular. So there's dancing, inflatables, crafts, ice skating. The Maple Maze is open, swimming, much more. And then they have the balloon drop. It's at 5:45 p.m. in
Yep,
the
that
afternoon.
would
so
mean closing
we're
at
moving
6,
this
right.
back
Okay.
to the afternoon. And then you can buy tickets at the door, but we do usually have a pretty high attendance for this one. So if you want to make sure you're there, you might want to buy tickets in advance.
And again, this year it's on a Sunday, so it makes a lot of sense for that
Yep.
afternoon timing to get out there and have some fun.
Yep.
Get your calendars out. We've got a lot more coming up in the month of November and December in the city. In December early, we have the Angel of Hope. Tell us about that annual event that happens.
So Wednesday, December 6th at 7 p.m., and that'll be up at the Arboretum. And of course, we went through a renovation project up there, expansion project. So there'll be a lot more space around the Angel of Hope monument up there. And then they do provide candles, and but they have a a short ceremony up there that evening. So usually a cool evening, but we do encourage people to come out. It's a really nice event.
This one is outside, so
It is.
yes, just dress properly for that, and more information on the website. For those that are still looking at those leaves, the last couple blowing around in their yard,
Yep.
we still have a way to get rid of those?
Open till November 30th,
Good.
the yard waste site. So we have 8 more days or
All
so,
right,
8,
the
9 more days.
countdown is on.
The countdown is on, and it's, you know, the weather has gotten a little warmer this week,
Yeah.
so I know I've been doing some cleanup in my yard too this week, so just an opportunity to get out and get those yards cleaned up one more time.
All right, for those watching us quickly here after this recording, we want to mention for the Police Explorers, there's an opportunity on Wednesday the 22nd. Tell
Yep.
us a little bit about what's happening there, and this is a fundraising opportunity, so a good chance to eat to help these explorers.
Right, so Wednesday, November 26th from 5 to 9 p.m. The Police Explorers will be out. They're participating in a fundraising event at Chipotle, and this is the one on Main Street, so right down in the downtown area. 50% of the in-store purchases will be donated to the Explorer program, so that's a pretty good deal for our Explorer program and a great way to have dinner that night.
And in a nutshell, Explorer program is what? Who's involved in this?
Yeah, so this is kind of the high school age type students that might have an interest in a law enforcement career or just really community service. And they have an opportunity to get training about various aspects of law enforcement. They go to a conference and they participate in some competitions around that. It's just a really great program to get youth involved in the law enforcement track.
Maybe some of those officers you saw at the beginning or heard
Yeah.
about at the beginning of the program, maybe were explorers when they were a little younger.
Yes.
Other things happening, Toys for Tots, great way to help out those in need in the area, and you are a drop-off site
We are.
in a couple places.
4 places,
All right.
Government Center, Community Center, Public Works, and their public safety facility. So they can drop off a new unwrapped toy for a child. Donations are accepted from November 27th to December 15th.
All right.
Yep.
Business always supported in the city of Maple Grove, and there's some occasions coming up to do that. One is a special day, and that's Small Business Saturday.
Yeah.
What should we do as shoppers in Maple Grove that day?
Well, we'd like you to come out and shop at the various small businesses in town, all of our businesses in town. But Saturday, November 25th is kind of that ceremonial kickoff of the small business shopping effort during
Right.
the holiday season. There's some events happening at Dave & Buster's that day, and we'll be Councilmember Karen Jager will be in attendance and providing a proclamation about Small Business
good.
Saturday there. But we really do invite and encourage shoppers to support our local brick and mortar businesses here in town. I know there's a lot of competition for dollars during the holiday season and a lot of online shopping that happens, but we really appreciate our small businesses and hope that our residents will get out to support them.
And that support goes to businesses that might be thinking about starting, and that's open to business in the
Yep.
city. So if people are thinking, I've got a great business idea, you might be able to help them out.
That's right. So we have our Open to Business program. The next day for it is on Tuesday, December 12th. It's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. At the Government Center. This is an opportunity to meet with a business advisor. They do one-on-one business counseling. They'll review your business plan, a pro forma, concept that you're thinking about. If you're thinking about taking it to the next level, you've been working maybe out of your home and now you're thinking about getting a storefront or moving into a space, they can kind of help you assess that. So it's just a really great tool for the small business entrepreneur type level. Information is available on our website, and they do request that you make an appointment so that the business advisor has the appropriate time reserved to meet with you.
We're going to finish up with a few other holiday items that are coming, but first want to mention budget hearing is coming up December 4th. So if you're into the budget and want to hear those numbers one more time, you can go to the meeting on the 4th. That's when that will be taken care of. Final couple things coming up, Mistletoe and Memories. This is a guide that is out in the city, and this has a lot of great holiday information and helping out the shoppers as well.
Yeah, so this is the holiday events guide that went out to all residents, and it covers really from now through New Year's, and it has a kind of a calendar of events as well as different ways to interact with our local businesses during the holiday season, and it's also available on our website as well.
And one of those big events at Profiles is coming up on December 2nd. Tell us what happens with all of the holiday fun in town and a special tree lighting.
Yeah, so this is the Hometown Holiday and Community Tree Lighting, and that the Sleigh Bells and Sparkle Parade is coming back this year. The parade has been off for a few years here. So the parade starts at 5 p.m. with viewing along Main Street, and then at 5:30 p.m. Santa lights the tree by the Government Center on that corner there at Main Street. There are events throughout the afternoon, though, from 3 to 7, so a longer period of time. Includes carriage rides, music, Santa and Mrs. Claus will be out, and then some of the local businesses will have treats out there as well. So kind of a fun afternoon on December 2nd on Main Street.
All right, make sure you get out, and again, that Mistletoes and Memories, a lot of that information. That is it for our report. We've filled up the half hour here. Heidi, thank you very much for the information. Let's leave you with the next council council meeting date. We mentioned at a time or two, it's Monday, December 4th, 7:30 at the Government Center. Website in the middle of the screen, as you see, a lot of information there. Phone number on the bottom to call, and our viewer response line as well is 533-1710. Questions or comments for the program, we'll be happy to take those. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us.